Hey everybody, this is Danielle with Danny's Travels. I am so excited to be here. It's been such a long time since I posted a video, but my goal is to post more content on this channel. Now, 2024 was not a big travel year for me. I don't have a lot to post. I did do a little bit, but 2025 is going to be a better travel year for me. So, I will be putting some content on this channel. The majority of my channel, though, is going to be talking about traveling, tips and tricks and things that I've done. So definitely stay tuned. Stay tuned for, my travel videos as well. But I'm just excited. I started this channel in 2022 after my first international trip, which was solo to Guatemala. I didn't get to post all my Guatemala content, unfortunately. I might go back later and post things, but I do have some Guatemala videos up if you want to check those out. But I want to talk about solo travel. And I just created a video. I just filmed a video and I was talking about a certain topic within solo travel, but I think I want to back. I think my spirit is telling me to take a different direction for this first video that I post in a while. And I want to talk about solo travel and just a little bit about why I think it's important for everybody to experience at least once. And I know this is, of course, against what some people might think, but especially if you're a woman and more, especially if you're a woman or if you're a black woman. Okay. So I want to address that. And I've heard a lot, I've gotten a lot of questions about, whether I'm scared or not when I go solo. And I'm going to, in this channel, I'm going to address that. I've gotten questions, well, how do you design your itinerary? I'll address that too. But I want to talk about the importance of solo travel as a specifically as a black woman because that's I believe in intersectionality and that's my lens, right? So I want to just address that. And I don't want to get into tips and tricks and all that stuff just yet. I will. This channel will be about that. And like I said, as well as me traveling and everything. Because like I said, 2025 is going to be a big year. But I want to talk about just a little bit about the importance and just be, I guess, vulnerable a little bit because I just thought of something that was like, whoa, right? And yeah, it's funny because, I post my pictures of my travel. And a lot of people assume that all of my trips are solo and they are not. Like I'm thinking in my head the last few trips I went on. I did go on a solo trip last year, but that was like the only thing I did last year because everything's kind of 2025 and 2023 was a heavy uh, trip year, vacation year, and then 2022 was a heavy trip year. So I I I don't like Guatemala was solo. I was in Panama solo a little bit. What was solo last year? 2023, I went to Curacao solo. And I haven't really been that many places solo, but it's weird. Like everybody thinks that I do so much solo traveling. And I think it's because I talk about it. Like I did this solo trip where they see pictures and I'm by myself. Now some of those pictures, you might just see me, but not by myself. But I mean, aside from that, many of my trips, including international, have been with groups or a few friends or family members. So I have not done a bunch of solo travel like so many of my associates or Facebook friends think. Even family members think that I've done some local solo trips, like Miami and New York and things like that, but I haven't done that much solo travel. So my experiences, though, I feel like kind of put me in the area of expertise because still in 2025, not a lot of people travel solo, I guess. So I think I take that back. I strike that. Let me strike put a strike through because there are a lot of people who travel solo, but I think some people still have concerns, I think. So there it is, folks. So, one reason why I think it's important to, especially as a black woman, um I'll say 30s and 40s maybe, and of course 50s, 60s, 50s, 60s, 20s maybe, right? um I think it's important because you do, and I know it sounds cliche, but you do learn a little bit about yourself. Like, I think, strangely, I'm more adventurous when I'm solo. Like, I did a volcano hike. Um, I did the an ATV tour. What else have I done? Kind of adventurous. I mean, I've taken the subway. That's adventurous. The first time I was by myself in New York. The first time wasn't a very long trip, but I took the subway. Um, what else have I done? I mean, I don't do too many like super adventurous things, but I feel like not even just adventurous, but I feel like I'm more like I guess because I'm able to get out and do what I want to do, it puts me in that feeling like, oh, I can do this. This would be cool to do. Let me do that. So I think that you learn a lot about yourself and your capabilities when you're solo. Like, you learn that you can be dependent, you can figure things out, especially traveling internationally. Because many times when you're doing that, there are language barriers, and you feel good when you're able to translate things. Like, listen, y'all, I'm on Duolingo again. And I feel like this excuse me, this is going to be good because I want to visit a lot more Spanish speaking countries. So I am doing Spanish. I did a stint in high school and a very brief stint in college. So I know like the basics, but I feel like this is going to be good. I was on Duolingo before, should have kept it up, but totally stopped. Now I'm back and I feel good because I think this is really going to help with me communicating with others. But you feel good when you're in a country where you do not speak the primary language and you can navigate, right? You can figure things out. You can put things in Google Translate. You can, get from point A to point B. And I I love it when I plan my own itineraries. So that was good. Curacao. I did not plan. People speak English in Curacao, so that wasn't like a big deal. But still, like, putting that itinerary together was cool. But figuring out how to get from point A to point B, designing something that you created, this, you figured out that you wanted to go to this museum, and it was a wonderful time. You figured out that you wanted to go to, like, is it Wynwood Walls? Oh my God, I just saw the picture. But the place in Miami that I went to, and that's not international, but I don't know. There's a sense of independence and growth that I think happens naturally when you go somewhere out of your element by yourself. Okay, so that's one reason why I think it's important to travel solo. You also, I think it's a humbling experience as well, especially when you are international, because you really have to want to be involved with the culture there. I feel like, at least, you have to talk to people. And when you're in a group, like let's say it's 5 friends, there might be some cases I'm this person, some cases I'm not. But there might be like the vocal person in the group who always makes the reservations and always speaks to so and so and always does this. But when you're by yourself, you have to do all of that. So you have to immerse yourself. I won't say immerse yourself in the culture. It depends on what you're doing. Part of it, yeah. Yes, I would say that. You have to talk to local people. So maybe I should just make this primarily about solo international travel as a black woman. I think that's what this video might be about because if you're just going to the next state or the next city, you don't have to do all these things. But if you're traveling internationally, there are things in which or moments in which you're gonna have to humble yourself when you don't speak the primary language that's spoken there. You have to be patient and you realize that people have to be patient with you. So it's a humbling experience. So that's another reason why. Um, Another reason, or I guess this is the third, you can design your trip the way you want to. There have been trips that I've been on where it feels like, okay, well, I'm expected to do this because everybody's doing this. And you may feel like, okay, well, I paid for this. I don't want to miss out, so let me go. But you have the capability of doing what you want to do. If you want to sleep in on a certain day, there's no pressure to get up at a certain time and do an excursion or do breakfast or brunch or lunch or wherever. There have been trips that I've been on, like big group trips, where it's like everybody wants to meet up to get breakfast and or everybody wants to meet up for dinner, and that's great. But I guess I've always been a person who can like do things on their own. And one time I opted out of something and I felt good because I was tired and I just lied in the bed. So when you're solo, I mean, you always have the choice, you can choose. But sometimes in group trips there's that pressure to do certain things that you may not really want to do. um but like when you're by yourself, you can design your trip the way you want to. You don't have to wait on someone. You don't have to feel like somebody's waiting on you, and you can just kind of like, you want to eat this for that day, you go eat that. So, I feel like there is a place. It doesn't have to be every trip, but there's a place for solo travel um, when you want to, do your own thing and you want to be independent. Or you're more of that type of person. Wow. So the other thing is, and I'll end on this. I'll end on this. The other thing is you surprise yourself and you can really like you can really surprise yourself at some of the things you feel like you're capable of doing. And again, I'm speaking specifically internationally. That might be navigating, and I talked about that before. That might be, ooh, I designed this cool trip. Now, you might go through a travel agent and maybe you're not designing or creating most of the trip, and that's fine. But if you are doing it by yourself, it's like, wow, I can't believe I accomplished this. And then you might think, oh, well, I can create trips for other people and do like group trips and charge people for me to do this service. So you might find that about yourself. You might realize how much travel is important to you, and seeing the world, actually. So when I went to Guatemala, when I went to Antigua, Guatemala, when I got to my hotel, this is being very vulnerable. Y'all, child. I cried. I wasn't like boo-hooing, like sobbing and being sad. It wasn't that. Like I cried and I talked to God and I was like, oh, God, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. Like I had just got my passport the year before, and because of the height of the pandemic, I hadn't used it. Like it took me a year to use it, and I've always wanted to travel internationally. And I was finally somewhere and just seeing how Guatemala looked, like especially the city of Antigua, Guatemala. it was beautiful. And I just like when I got to my hotel, when I felt the fresh, warm air coming into my window, oh my God, I just cried. And it was one of those moments where it's like, wow, you are a traveler. Like, this feels great. Now, I don't know how that moment would have been if I had traveled with the group. Maybe I would have cried. Probably not if I was sharing my room with someone, right? But just, I think it was a mixture of me going solo, like I was by myself. I had gotten there and I knew what was kind of ahead of me, like this whole nice trip. And I got there and everything was just beautiful and the people were nice. And it eliminates all of that, like, and of course, if you've traveled internationally, some of you might realize this, but for me, it was like, oh my God, people have told me that it's gonna be weird and people are gonna be looking at you and all that, but it wasn't the case. So it gives you a chance to be vulnerable. And this might connect with like the humble experience. But yeah, these are my things. I don't even remember what I said because again, my initial video is actually about safety, how to feel safe. But I wanted to bag back a little bit and explain why I think solo travel is important, specifically international solo travel for Black women. Of course, you want to be safe. So I'm going to come back with just some tips and things that I've done over the years or I've heard other people do that can keep you safe. But yeah, again, I have not done like this extensive solo travel. I have not. people think that I People think that I do, but or I have, but I really haven't. I've done I've taken quite a few trips over the past few years, but it's been with other people. So I actually this year I gotta actually put some solo travel on my itinerary. I think I actually want to keep it local this year and get to some cities that I have never been yet, which will be pretty cool. So yeah, so again, I'm really excited to be back. I'm going to be getting content on here. I won't tell you my goals for when I'm posting, but be on the lookout. Um, I will holler at you all soon. Have a great night or morning or afternoon or evening. Bye.